Circuit Spa-Francorchamps, one of the most popular tracks in the world, one of the most sought-after wins in real-life racing, the Spa 24 Hours. It's also the premier GT3 race, featuring only GT3 machinery, often well over 60 cars in the grid. This week, Throttle Freaks, week number 3 of season 25, or 2025, season 2, correction. We head to Spa. A number of our drivers just spent all weekend racing here in the iRacing 24 Hours of Spa. A couple weeks after the real-life racing version, according to iRacing, over 14,000 drivers participated this past weekend in the iRacing 24 Hours of Spa. Many of them we're going to feature here tonight, so no doubt our drivers have a ton of practice. I am, as usual, Rob Campbell, running production and commentary. In the booth with me as well will be Richard Swindell. This is Pit Road Productions, and again, this is Throttle Freaks Week 3 at Spa. We've got our track conditions up there on the board. 69-degree air temp is going to translate to a nice 76-degree track temp. Perfect day for racing here in Belgium. So let's pop on over to the booth here and have a little chat with my co-part, Rich. I think you're generally a fan of Spa. Give us a little insight of what you expect to see here tonight.
Yeah, Spa's a good track. All these drivers are very, very familiar, as you said, with it. I think most people on the service, especially the GT3 drivers, all know and love Spa. Very high speed, very flowing, huge elevation changes, albeit some technical sections too. You know, you've got the chicane finishing off the end of the lap, La Source turn 1. You know, there's always the deathbed of Eau Rouge and Radillon. It's going to be an exciting night with 40 some odd cars on track. I expect to see a lot of action, and hopefully people are a little bit patient in the first couple of laps and we get through a little cleaner than we have been.
Yeah, we had a couple of great races so far. Daytona kicked it off with the new tire model, which we saw a number of drivers struggling with into turn 1. Fuji last week, it seemed like a lot of our drivers had a little better handle on it heading into turn 1. We didn't really see a whole lot of action, a little bumping and banging here and there. But I suspect even more this week, Rich, with all the laps our drivers have under them here at Spa, they should do fairly well. But let's, speaking of tracks, take a look at the schedule we've got coming up here. As I mentioned, this is round number 3 at Spa. Round 4 next week is going to take us to VIR. That's a favorite of mine. I don't know how you feel about that, Rich, but round 5 off to Misano. Round 6 is going to take us to France to Magny-Cours. Round 7, Jose Carlos Pace in Brazil. Road America for round 8. Silverstone round 9. Then we cap everything up at Nürburgring in Germany. So a number of great tracks still on the way here. But we got a great one here this evening for our GT3 drivers. Qualifying getting underway. Usual 15 minutes of qualifying, open qualifying. That's why you see all the cars on the track simultaneously. Right now, a couple laps coming in. Jack Hedgecock's going to lead them around at the top of this one right now. A couple BMWs up top with Kevin Simpson. Kevin, the driver that we saw in Season 1, Rich, do really well. But so far this season, not faring all that well for Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin's had a couple of issues. If I recall correctly, last week didn't go as planned. He got involved in some earlier conflicts, but nice to see him up near the front. And looks like J.R. Williams returning again, looking like he's looking for another good race. He had a great race last week. I believe he was in the top 3. He was on the podium, and right now he's up top of the qualifying efforts.
Yeah, JR with a nice run there. We really saw him put some pressure on after the pit stops, where he came out just ahead of Matt Stadnik in second place. But unfortunately for him, Stadnik was able to get back around him to take that spot away. So showing some pace again now as he's popped up in the top spot that time by Rich. But we got some points championships going on here. We should probably take a look at those when we have a second. Let's have a look at the AM side of this. And why don't you talk us through the AM Drivers Championship?
Yeah, in the AM Drivers Championship, in first place right now. We've always been calling him Pete Magia, or Pete Majaya, but we now know he's Pete Mejia, so congratulations, Pete, right now sitting in first, followed in second by Josh Gowen, then Roy Brown rounds out the top 3. We've got Dave Jensen in 4th, followed by Kevin Bergquist in 5th. Guillermo Paré is in 6th, followed by Zach Mosley in 7th. Mark Feil is in 8th, followed by Neil Alexander in 9th. Tyler Pastor rounds out the top 10. Then we have Eric Evans, James Hand, Nate Adair, Jared Deploy, Alex Hillman, Jacob Fichtner, Teddy Pedersen, Ian Cabanas in 18th, Sean Provost in 19th, Ross Sortino, Drew DeWeese, Nathan Doogie, and Robert Jeffries round out with no points, but looking for some points tonight, I think.
Yeah, a couple drivers there, unfortunately, not accruing any points due to, I believe, if I remember correctly, I have to double check again, but I think they have to run at least 50% of the race to accrue some points. So if they have an early incident, that's going to definitely put a hamper in that. But on over to the Pro-Am side of things, we've got, whoops, we were one page too far there. We got Tyler Graff leading the way with 1 point over Jay Steffi. Nicholas Gowan in third place, Tony Costello in fourth, David Bush the third tied with him for fourth place. So real tight battles for first and second and fourth and fifth at the top of the Pro-Am standings. Venero, Pineda, Farrell, Park, and Chinsky round out your top 10. Over on the pro side of things, a little smaller field on the pro side, but Matt Stadnick, strong showing in her first 2 weeks. He's got himself up top, 5 points ahead of Jim Felice. Jack Hedgecoats in third place. Josh Spears just ahead of Caleb William by 2 points. McLuhan, Simpson, Williams, Menino, and Smrecker are going to round out the pro side. And then just take us through the teams championship, Rich.
Yeah, we've got lots of teams participating, and you can be mixed up whether you are Pro-Am or Pro-Am, and all three are eligible. So we've got SRTE Purple sitting in first with a pretty decent lead over Go and Racing in second. The Madworks Lunatics round out the top three with SRTE Yellow very close, just 1 point behind in fourth. Riot Motorsports is in fifth, followed by SRTE Red. Then we have Millennium Motorsports, SimCity Racing, SRTE Black, PLR SimSport rounding out your top 10.
Yeah, a number of tight battles all throughout that one. Still plenty of time to go. But yeah, as you mentioned, with the kind of the merger of the Sprint and the Fixed Series this season, Rich, they've gone ahead and allowed drivers and teams to kind of combine drivers across the AM, Pro-Am categories and accrue points, which is nice. It gives us a lot more teams to fight in the team championship. But right now, qualifying underway, and look at that, our third place driver right now is our top AM driver, Ross Sortino. We saw Ross in season one come out on fire the first couple of weeks, and then unfortunately had a number of incidents, dropped him back through the championship standings. But right now, coming out strong in week number 3 here at Spa.
Yeah, Ross obviously has a lot of experience on Spa, like a lot of drivers here, and must obviously love it because his pace is great tonight, Rob. Nice to see Ross right up there in the top 3, and rather unexpectedly from my standpoint, but he's obviously doing it right and making use of the draft, I would expect, because you really need to make some of these goes off track. This lap's not going to count, so Ross just going to pull over and let Herbert Pineda take over.
Yeah, Herbert Pineda was trying to utilize that draft of Sortino, as you were just talking about, but Sortino dropping a couple tires into the dirt pretty much negated that draft off him. But Joshua Chinsky, our top Pro-Am driver, now up into third place. He's going to drop Ross Sortino down into fourth, so strong showing for Chinsky right now. We've got a nice mix of pros and Pro-Ams and AMs all throughout the top 10 here. Interesting to see. It's definitely going to be a result of all the laps that these drivers have put in just practicing for the Spa 24 hour this past week, Rich.
Yeah, definitely, and it's not just that, Rob. We've also got a nice mix of cars. We've got a Merc up front. Right now we've got a couple BMWs. Then we've got a Corvette in fourth in Joshua Chinsky. Ferrari's up there with Ross Sortino. Another Merc, and then we've got a Porsche, a Ford. I mean, all kinds of cars.
Yeah, if there's a GT3 make, we have it somewhere in the field right now. I believe every single GT3, I believe, is represented at some point in time in the field, Rich. So nice to see a nice mix of different cars. But as you mentioned, right now it's a lot of German machinery on the top 3 steps of qualifying, with Joshua Chinsky being the first American make with the Corvette up there, which I know is always one of your favorites. And our first Ford, Felix Felice, just inside the top 10, currently in 9th spot. So nice showing for Felix, another driver who we saw battling up near the top of the Fixed Championship last season. Felix, casualty of a little bit of inconsistency as the season went on, but right now showing some strong pace into P9 right in qualifying.
Felix definitely having a good effort tonight. We've only got about 2 minutes left in qualifying. 15 minutes doesn't get you many laps around Spa, Rob, so drivers are going to want to move up the field. They're going to have to get that lap done right quick. Pick it back up with our provisional pole leader right now, Jack Hedgecoats. We're going to get his name right finally. It's taken us a few weeks, Jack, and we apologize, but we're doing our best.
We may not be the quickest, Rich, but we'll get there sooner or later. We see Jack going in through Puhan here. We should also mention that it is a 15-minute clock, but because it's open qualifying, as long as they get across the line before the clock ticks down to 0, they are able to complete that lap. So as we see a driver darting out in behind Jack there, who was off screen, that was Roy Brown. Not sure if he was just waiting for Hedgecoats to go by or if he had an incident, but you saw him darting out in the background. He's on track now, but we'll go back to Hedgecoats, who's just lost his pole position, provisional pole, as J.R. Williams back up top with a 2:16.87 last time by. That's a hot lap for J.R. Williams.
Yeah, J.R. Williams, longtime PRL admin, up front right now, and looks like he's looking for back-to-back good weeks. Qualifying, certainly, you don't want to be qualifying mid-pack with this many cars. J.R. Williams getting the pace done as we watch him going through the first few corners here up on the top of the very highly elevated Spa.
Oh, it looks like he's going to call it quits for that lap. Let's go a little further back in the field here and pick up Jerry Keane, driver who missed the first week. Showed up last week, had a nice run up into the top 10. So he'll be looking to work off that. Currently sitting in 31st right now. Another driver, Waldo Walden, who was strong last season, took the AM side of the fixed championship, all while running out of fuel on the final lap of the final race of the season, Rich, with just barely had enough buffer over Kevin Berquist to take the win last season. So Waldo will be looking to build off that this season as we head into week 3.
Yeah, that was certainly an exciting finish there last season, but this is a new season. Official time is over, so when these drivers get across the start-finish line, their qualifying efforts are going to be over. Follow around with Waldo Walden in that beautiful blue, white, and black, or blue, silver, and black Ford Mustang.
And another driver that we saw competitive last season, Jason Park, got himself up into 20th place right now. We'll see if he has any improvement on this lap, as looks like he's about halfway around and come around to finish up this one, Rich.
Yep. And we're going to follow along. We're going to continue along following the qualifying efforts of Jason Park. Jason coming around through the final sections. It looks like he's coming up through, I believe it looks like he may be coming up through Blanchimont now. Just a couple of corners remaining. He's got turns 18, and then he's got the chicane. Let's see what Jason Park can do. Jason's sitting in 20th right now. Looks like he's been dropped to 21st, so he's looking to make some advances. A little far behind. Might be getting a little bit of a tow here from the driver in front of him, but we'll see. It looks like a good corner entry and exit for Jason. Let's see where he finishes up.
Yeah, he's going to come across the line 21st. Let's see if he improves on that. Does not look like he's going to improve. Look like he negated that lap with an off track somewhere, potentially, Rich. But another driver who's still got his lap to finish up, coming around through the final chicane here now, is Roy Brown, currently sitting in 16th place, our second position AM at this point in time. So it looks like he is not going to finish up that lap, pulling into the pits. One of our Gowan brothers, Josh, in the race here. Nick in chat. Nick, unfortunately, not able to make the race this week, but he's in chat cheering on his teammates, Josh and brother, and as well as Jack Hedgecoats. So it'll be interesting to see if the Gowan racing team can make up for the absence of Nick Gowan this week. But right now, Josh Gowan going to start in 24th spot provisionally.
Yeah, and Drew DeWeese is sitting 45th right now, not having the greatest qualifying effort, but coming around through the last, looks like he's actually right at the top, so he's probably done as far as I could tell, Rob. Just maybe doing a little bit of an outlap, cooling down the car, getting himself zoned in.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm showing him as still live at this point in time, Rich, so we'll have to wait and see. Looks like still says qualifying is just finishing up on my end here, so have to wait and see once iRacing kicks him out. There he goes down and around through the sweeper, so he might have just barely made it across before the clock ticked over, Rich, but we'll see here as he heads into turn 18 and 19. This will finish up his lap.
Yeah, I think I might have been a little bit off there because there's still 10 seconds left in official time, and taking the checkered flag, we've got Drew DeWeese. And Drew looks like he's going to remain where he was.
Yeah, no improvement there for Drew, but that's going to pretty much finish it off here, Rich, once timing and scoring finally clicks over. And then we'll have a field of, I believe it looks like 50 cars, potentially, if all of our drivers make it to the grid. So if you've ever seen a mass event at Spa, we could see it here into turn one. Hopefully all of our drivers have a cooler head. But let's take a look here at the grid as J.R. Williams going to take top spot ahead of Matt Stadnick in second place. Jack Hedgecoats and Kevin Simpson going to make up row two. David Bush, our top AM driver, in fifth place. He'll have Joshua Chinsky, another Pro-Am driver to his outside. In sixth place, Tony Costello in seventh. Ross Sortino, our top AM driver, in eighth. Cale Lehman and Felix Feliz going to make up 9th and 10th, and 11th and 12th going to Dave Menino and Tyler Graff. I was going to reverse their names.
Yeah, in 13th, we've got Jim Feliz, last week's winner, followed by Herbert Pineda. And then we have Jay Steffi, followed by Roy Brown. Andrew Venara is in 17th, followed by David Morse in 18th. Patrick Farrell, 19th, followed by Brett Thurman in 20th. Jason Park, followed by Pete Mejia in 22nd. 23rd is Colin McKenzie, followed by Josh Gowen.
And 25th is where we're going to find Jacob Fichtner and Ian Kamana in 26th. Spears and Trickett make up 27th and 28th. Gauthier and Javi Sierra are going to round out the top 15 rows here in 29th and 30th. Neil Alexander and Dale Peterson in row 16. Row 17 goes to Brent Pancari and Jared Keane. And row 18, Rich Walden and Kevin Bergquist.
And we have more rows still. We've got Alex Hillman in 37th, followed by Teddy Peterson. Dave Jensen, followed by Robert Jeffries in 40th. Then we have Sean Provost, followed by Tyler Pastor. James Hand, followed by Christopher Rhines. Drew DeWeese rounds out to the field, followed by Sean Mulholland, I believe, is an admin. Guillermo Perret did not set a time, nor did a Mark Thiel.
And last couple cars, Eric Evans and Nate Adair. That's your 50-car field. So it's going to be interesting to Rich to see how all of these drivers navigate the first corner. One of the most famous corners here at Spa as well, not necessarily for excitement, but just for carnage. La Source can provide a whole lot of excitement, so hopefully all of our drivers have a calm, I'm going to say right foot, Rich, and a very active left foot if they're doing the 2-foot braking out here, or driving out here this evening, as we've got a ton of cars trying to get through there.
I like your optimism. I'd like to hope that's going to happen with 50 cars in this field. I think maybe 48 or so taking the start. I'm a little bit iffy of whether we're actually going to see that, but let's hope so. As we watch J.R. Williams leading the field around the last couple of corners on this nice short pace lap at Spa.
Yeah, it's always nice to have the short pace lap, especially at a track like Spa, where you could be sitting here for about 4 minutes waiting for the whole field to head on by. But we're getting ready to go here, Rich. Pace car off. Field under J.R. Williams' control. Short run to the green flag here. It looks like J.R. is going to keep them all in check. Oh, that's right. We're using the front straight for the start finish. The start will be on the front straight. The finish will be on the back straight. So they're going to go down the short straight here. They'll make a right through La Source, which will end up being turn one once we go live. And then the race will be underway here. 45 minutes GT3 action in the Throttle Freaks Fix GT3 League. So there we go, onto the front straight. Light should be going green any moment here. And away we go. JR getting a nice jump. He's going to lead them into Eau Rouge first time through. Let's see how it works out, Rich. Looking so good so far. I'm not seeing a whole lot of cars dropping through the field. Up the Kemmel Straight first time by.
Looks like we got everybody through cleanly so far, Rob. Very surprising and very good driving. Tyler Graff's a little sticking a nose out. We're going 3-4 wide. Looks like all kinds of cars trying to make some moves, but relatively clean start for all of these drivers. All that racing at Spa this weekend has paid off for us. Oh, we've got an incident up here. As I say that, I'm not sure who went off. It looks like
Tony
may
Costello,
be
I believe.
Hermit.
And Tony Costello is one of the drivers involved, definitely. Take a look at that when we have a moment once things settle down a little bit. But J.R. Williams getting a massive jump up front holding on to his pole position. Jack Hedgecock's going to move around Matt Stadnik to get up into P2. Matt Stadnik going to fall to third place. Kevin Simpson in fourth, and Josh Wachinski going to move up one spot as well into fifth place.
Rob, I'm just having some technical issues here.
No problem, Rich. We'll carry on. Ross Sortino, he's another driver who's going to carry on. Strong showing from our top AM right now. Qualified in 8th place. He's holding on to that spot as it stands right now, so good work by him. Tucked in behind David Bush the third. David Menino, one of our pro drivers, in behind him, so we'll see how long Sortino can hang there. He's definitely got the pace we've seen in seasons past. See if he can hang with the top drivers out here this evening at Spa as we're halfway through this lap. JR lead them into the chicane. Opened up a nice little gap here on the first lap, over 1.1 seconds for second place Hedgecock, who's feeling some pressure now from Matt Stadnik. Jack Hedgecock was able to get around Stadnik early on, but Stadnik starting to put some pressure back on him. Simpson right in behind too as well. A little slower out of turn 19 for Kevin Simpson, falling back a little bit off that battle, but it's like Matt Stadnik thought about sticking the nose up in the inside of turn 1. Hedgecock's going to go a little wide. Stadnik loses the back end, has to gather it up. Almost lost it trying to make a move around Hedgecock. Got a little ambitious. Saw Hedgecock drift a little wide. Saw that opportunity to potentially take that position away. But he's going to gather back up and he'll continue on. So we got Andrew Trickett falling down the order. Something's happened to him. He's into the pits. Relatively calm start for 50 cars on this track. Well done by our drivers.
Yeah, definitely a calm start, Rob. I lost my whole internet feed here, so I'm going to have to call off your screen for now until I get back up and running, but we're going to pick it up. We got Jim Feliz. Jim sitting in 13th place, sitting right where he started, looking to make some advancements. Jim falling along behind Jay Steffi. Jay Steffi up 3 positions thus far.
Yeah, nice run by Jay Steffi. He showed some top pace so far this season. Rich, he was a driver who initially, when we were sticking with the sprint and fixed session, and then once they joined them, dropped down to the Pro-Am side of things. So he was preparing himself to go into some heavy competition. Looks like he's done a ton of practice in the off season and so far this season, and it's really showing there with Steffi holding strong into 12th place, up 3 spots.
Yeah, Jay's, we're always pleased to have him in the interview room after the race. He's made a couple of appearances, looking for another one. Picking back up at Patrick Farrell. Patrick is sitting in 15th place right now. Patrick falling along behind Andrew Venaro as we watch cars up ahead go off onto the dirt. They're going to use all of this track and then some, trying to maximize their exit out of this corner.
Yeah, it's all about corner exit here at Spa, in and out as quick as you possibly can. Tyler Graff, strong driver, got himself in 10th place, feeling a bunch of pressure from Herbert Pineda though. Let's take a look back here. Looks like Pineda, I thought, might try and duck to the right there of Graff, make a move into the final chicane, but he's going to stay tucked in behind there. They've got Jay Steffi and Jim Feliz lurking not too far back, so they can't really afford to battle all that much, Rich, and avoid the 2 cars sneaking up behind.
Yeah, battling is just going to bring the players behind into play, and we don't want that, or they don't want that. We want that. We want to see good, close racing, but the drivers are smart enough to know, let's follow in behind, let's maintain the draft, let's try and pull on the car ahead of us and not let the cars behind us get too tight as we watch Jack Hedgecock. Jack having a great battle with Matt Stadnik. Matt Stadnik poking a nose out. Let's see what Matt does here. Matt going on the inside, but Jack's got him covered off real close, but drivers are well aware we're only 5 minutes in to a 45-minute race here.
Yeah, I thought for a second there that Stadnik was going to catch the right rear of Hedgecock's. It's like just enough space. You could probably fit maybe a couple playing cards between them there, Rich, but everybody works out, keeps going. So
plenty of space, that's all you need.
Yeah, a couple hairs, that's all you need through there. It's a measuring device, but it looks like Dave Menino falling down through the field here. He's off against the wall. He's going to have to try and merge back in with that steady stream of cars coming through. Take a look at what happened to him here. So he's battling with Ross Sortino. Oh, maybe a bit of netcoat contact there. Oh, yeah. Click Sortino just kind of drifted out wide a little bit, caught the right quarter of Menino, keeps it off the wall. Oh, as I say, that little brush to the wall there. But overall, he should be able to get back on track. Not really cost him a whole lot of time, just positions there. Rich is now he's tucked in behind Seb Gauthier.
Yeah, Dave Menino not real happy with that, but looked like it was just good close racing. I didn't see too much going on as we watch cars coming off the track using the dirt. We've got a nice train here. We've got Andrew Venaro following along behind Jim Belize, but he's got Patrick Farrell all over the back of him here. Patrick Farrell following up close, looking to make some advances as we come into the chicane to round out towards the end of this lap here. Man, that's an interesting perspective with that camera there, Rob. I was wondering what we were looking at. It looks like an antenna.
Yeah, it's all the cars have a antenna type device on the top, GPS and all. You can see kind of see the radio communications all on the top there. But yeah, Felix Feliz putting some pressure on the back of Patrick Farrell now. He's got that battle between Farrell and Venaro. Just having a quick look through the field here. Looks like we've got a battle shaping up here right now. David Morris got himself down one spot from where he qualified. Colin McKenzie's just gotten around him. Morris trying to chase him back up and get back around there, but they got Josh going and Pete Mejia in tow. Josh Spears not too far back right now, so Pete Mejia right now in a Josh sandwich with Spears behind him and Gowan up ahead of him.
Yeah, let's look at this gaggle of cars. What do we got? 20 cars here on this straightaway. This is just incredible, and they're all nose to tail. Pete Mejia sitting in 21st place right now, having himself a decent race thus far, looking to make some more moves. He's up one position, falling along behind Josh Gowan.
Yeah, strong showing for Gowan right now, up 4 spots from where he qualified. Spears as well, just behind them, up 5 spots. Just having a quick look here to see who's made up the most positions right now. It looks like right now I'm seeing James Hand plus 7 positions right now, back in 36th spot. He's now working on Robert Jeffries, trying to make that plus 8 for the day.
Yeah, James Hand having a great start to this race, and looks like he's coming around here, having a good little chase on, going down through the downhill left-hand section. Let's continue on with James Hand for a minute.
Yeah, we've got a number of battles that are all within a couple tenths here. It's just a matter of who we can show at any given time, Rich. It's so close. 50 cars on track, and for the most part, none of them really separated by more than a couple tenths here and there, as Ross Sortino feeling some pressure from Herbert Pineda. We saw Pineda last trying to work around Tyler Graff. He's gotten around Tyler Graff now, and he's trying to get around Ross Sortino. Pineda up 5 spots from where he started. Ross Sortino, one of our only drivers, Rich, who is still in the position he qualified in. J.R. Williams, Kevin Simpson, 2 other drivers in the top 10 in where they qualified. Roy Brown, Neil Alexander, and Dave Jensen, the rest of the field that still holding the position where they qualified. Either drivers have lost positions, gained positions, but there's been a ton of movement up and down the order.
Yeah, and that's not surprising with that many cars on track right now. We've got Jack Hedgecoats. Jack is he's got Matt Stanek all over the back of him. Matt, let's see if Matt can make the move this time. We watched that a couple laps ago, wasn't able to get it done. This time Matt's got the inside. Jack still goes around the outside and still holds him off. Wow, good close racing, and great job by Matt Stanek avoiding getting into the back of Jack Hedgecoats.
Yeah, we should probably mention Kevin Simpson just kind of lurking in behind here, keeping his distance from that battle, knowing that if something were to happen amongst them, he'd be there to pounce, potentially get himself up into second place. J.R. Williams not too far ahead. He was able to get out to a nice gap early on. He's going to maintain that. He's holding steady about 1.5 seconds ahead of that battle for second place between Hedgecoats and Stadnik right now.
Now I'm really impressed, Rob. We're 5 laps we're in the 5th and towards the end of the 5th lap of this race, and we haven't seen many incidents. I mean, we've still got 46 cars of the 49 cars that started on the lead lap and still racing. So great to see. Good driving by everybody tonight. Much better examples of what we want to see tonight than in previous weeks. Looks like these guys have learned their lesson, and also all that practice at Spa this weekend has paid off.
Yeah, no doubt. As we mentioned early on, I would surmise that a vast majority of these drivers participated in Spa at some point in time, Rich, where they probably put in, I would say, somewhere in 80 to 100 50 laps, depending on how many drivers they had on their teams. But they're going to be well versed. Spa also is a track that pops up at almost every season of GT3 racing, so they're going to be well versed at the track. But we just saw Seb Gauthier get around his teammate Jacob Fichtner. Fichtner now having to deal with Dave Menino. Menino we saw tangled with Ross Sortino, went off track, had to get gathered back up. So we know he has some pace. Looking to the inside of Fichtner, unable to make the move on the inside, but just behind them, Dale Peterson and Javi Sierra have a nice battle coming into turn 18 and 19 as they're going to head across the line to finish up lap 6.
Yeah, and they're chasing down Dave Menino, who had that earlier little incident down 14 positions, but back on track and looking to make some of those positions back. We're coming around through La Source. All of these cars lined up nose to tail. They're going to take it wisely. They're going to go through cleanly and nose to tail. They're not going to try any passes entering Radion Rouge. Perhaps look for something down the end of the Kemmel Straight.
Yeah, this pack here, led by Seb Gauthier, runs all the way back to Seb Gauthier in 23rd place, runs all the way back to Brent Pancari in 30th place here. So 7-car pack here battling out, Rich, for 23rd place. So they may be a little farther back in the pack, but they're going to battle it tooth and nail as it goes, because every point matters here in the championship.
Oh, it definitely does. And that's the nice thing about having a league and a race with this many people involved. I mean, you can be in 44th place and still battling with 45th. So whether you're battling for the lead or you're battling for the top 20 or top 30, it's always nice to have battles, because that's what it's all about. You want to be racing nose to tail, try your offense, try some defense, and see what you can do, see what you're made of.
Yeah, for sure. Wondering here now, Rich, just by the sheer vast number of cars we have on track, as I'm having a quick look, looks like basically everybody is still on track, albeit for, I believe, 3 cars we've lost here at this point in time, but everybody else still on track. If anybody's going to take advantage of or try to attempt the undercut, we've got a number of drivers here involved in battles that could potentially try for the undercut, get into the pits, try and find a little bit of clear air. But with this amount of cars on track, it's going to take a little bit to find some clear air. They might have to wait a few laps to get back there, as we see Tyler Graff and Jay Steffley battling it out. That's for 11th place. Steffi getting the nose ahead into turn 18. Looks like Graff's going to back out and give him that position. It's going to move Steffi up now. It's going to put him +4 spots on the day, 1 spot out of the top 10. Let's see if he can chase down Jim Feliz, who's just over 2 seconds up ahead of him there. Jim Feliz kind of in purgatory here. Second or so back of Herbert Pineda. Pineda's strong run too as well. Up 5 spots where he qualified. Ross Sortino just ahead of him. He's trying to chase down David Bush III and Joshua Chinsky.
Yeah, David Bush III struggled a little bit last week, but it looks like he's back into having great pace. But we're picking it back up with Joshua Chinsky. Joshua driving my favorite car out here, the Corvette. Nice to see him representing well, sitting in 6th place right now, following a whole bunch of pros, but Joshua getting it done.
Yeah, strong run by Chinsky, our top Pro-Am driver as well. The red-colored drivers on the timing and scoring stand, those are our Pro-Am drivers. Blue is Pro, green is Am. If you haven't figured out the color coordination at this point in time, there it is. The cat's out of the bag. But right now, Chinsky trying to find a way around Caleb Lehman. Lehman holding down the final spot in the top 5. So Lehman definitely not going to want to give that up, as he's also our last of the pro drivers in the top 5. So he's going to want to try and maintain his points haul to try and close down the gap on a couple of pro drivers who have fallen back through the field a little bit, being Jim Feliz, Josh Spears, and Dave Manoa.
Yeah, it's tough for Caleb, because Caleb's fallen out of draft rank. He's 4.5 seconds behind Kevin Simpson in 4th. That lets Joshua Chinsky, David Bush III, and Ross Sartino really have a good chance at catching up with them. But we're going back here, 30th place. We've got Brett Pancari. Brett has got Neil Alexander all over the back of him. Brett having good efforts here, holding off Neil at this stage as they come around through the midsection. Nice battles all the way up and down the field. We've got a 5 or 6 car train here, Rob, and you know we're seeing 28th, 29th, 30th, and 31st here.
Yeah, I got to I gotta say, Brent Pancari probably has the best team name this season, Rich, with the Hi, I'm Daisy, powered by Project 91 car, and I think he's got
Definitely my favorite.
he's got the paint scheme to go along with it, but feeling a ton of pressure right now from Neil Alexander and that McLaren. Alexander would love to try and find his way around Pancari. Neil Alexander, one of our few drivers holding on to his qualifying position. Pancari up 3 spots, so one of those spots Alexander would like to put him down as a negative, but as you mentioned, this 7-car battle is still raging on. Seb Gauthier still leads this pack, although Dale Peterson now up into just behind him.
Yeah, Dale Peterson sitting 25th place. Dale's up 7 positions on the day, so Dale's having himself a good race day thus far and looking for more gains. He's closing up all over the back of Seb Gauthier. As I said before, drivers are not going to be making any passes here unless somebody makes a big mistake. They're just setting themselves up for the end of the straightaway. Looking at it, David Bush III. David Bush sitting there, starting to hold off Ross Sortino. Ross Sortino is starting to apply some great pressure to him right now. Let's see what's going on here. And that's allowed Joshua Chinsky to really pull away at this stage.
Yeah, Bush III, one of our only Lambo drivers. I believe we got one other Lambo in the field. That'd be Tyler Pastor in 36th place. So the Lambo, a car that isn't represented all that much in GT3 racing. Currently, David Bush III kind of showing what it can do in 7th place, but starting to feel some pressure from Ross Sortino. But as you mentioned, Chinsky starting to pull away. Him and Lehman capitalizing on that battle between Bush III and Sortino to open up a bit of a gap. But let's take a look back up at our leaders here. J.R. Williams still leading the way. 1.4 seconds. That gap's kind of held steady. He got that early jump, Rich, where he opened up a little over a second on the first lap, built it up to 1.5 seconds, but Hedgecoats and Statnik been able to keep him honest at that gap.
Yeah, Hedgecoats and Statnik really got to make sure they're not racing each other at this stage if they want to close that gap down. J.R. Williams looks like a man on a mission tonight, Rob. Nice to see JR up leading this pack. Matt Stanek, meanwhile, though, following along as we come through chicane. Matt Stanek followed behind Jack Hedgecoach. They've been battling pretty hard, but maybe best if they stop doing that and start trying to concentrate on getting up to the leaders. We're following along with Josh Gowen. Josh Gowen having a huge battle here at this stage with Colin McKenzie.
Yeah, going looking around the outside of McKenzie. That's going to give him the inside out of turn 19. They've got a battle just ahead of them, too, as well, between Park and Roy Brown. So both those drivers kind of have to hold back because they can't really get into the throttle, Rich. That battle up ahead, they have to kind of hang tight, can't just drive through the car ahead. But it's like McKenzie going to take advantage of Roy Brown onto the inside. But Jason Park, Jason Park going to drop a tire into the gravel there. That's going to slow him down. McKenzie going to capitalize. Roy Brown trying to squeeze himself in between Josh Gowen and Colin McKenzie. He got it done, but flirting with a slowdown there onto the inside, using up a ton of curb. Doesn't look like he's pulling off to the left to bleed off a slowdown, so it must have been just within limits. You see a couple of Acuras bump drafting down the straight. McKenzie giving Park a push. Oh, Gowen looking out wide around Roy Brown. He's going to make that pass, move himself up into 17th place. Nice move there by Josh Gowen.
Yeah, Josh Gowen now up 7 positions. Josh Gowen doing well and representing the team and showing his brother how it's done tonight. We're coming around here. We've got great battles with Brussels. Whoa, we've got Tyler Graff off into the dirt and into the tire barrier. I'm not sure what happened there, Rob, but that's one of our early incidents. Tyler Graff, one of the crowd favorites, having a bad day.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Tyler Graff. Strong run last season, but we'll have to see if we can find out what happened to him here. Looks like it might have been a solo. Oh no, he had a little help. Not sure if that was one of the Mustangs. Not sure if that was Walden or who it was he was battling with there. We'll have to see if we can catch another look at that. Andrew Venaro potentially here. Nope. Venaro was just ahead of him. Felix Feliz was the Mustang that a little bit of contact there with Graff. It looked like Feliz kind of went in a little deep, caught the corner of Graff, and off into the barrier he went. So Tyler Graff's not going to be thrilled about that one.
Turn left hard, rather unusual, but that's unfortunate. We're going to go back to Roy Brown. Roy Brown sitting in 17th place right now. Roy Brown having himself a good battle. He's got Colin McKenzie, had David Morse behind. Look at these 4, 5, 6 cars, Rob. This is good close racing as we come into the chicane. David Morris at third, closing in close. Rob getting a little bit nervous. Richard's not nervous. We're all following along here. These guys are, I mean, I'd be afraid to race this close, but these guys obviously have a little more experience at Spa than I do, Rob.
Yeah, David Morris had me a little nervous there. He was coming in hot into turn 18. I thought it was only a matter of time before, oh, Felix Feliz going to spin it around on the front straight. He's got a ton of damage on that left front now. I'm not sure if all of that was from contact with Tyler Graff. Oh, he's going to be a roadblock as number of drivers come through there. Dale Peterson, Javi Sierra, Jared Keane, all having to accommodate for Felix Feliz sitting there on the left of the track, but they're all going to get back and going again as we get a couple of drivers coming in for their service, trying to capitalize on that undercut that I mentioned early on.
Yeah, we're 21 minutes into this 45-minute race, and I was a little nervous there, Rob. I thought Felix Feliz might have come out and caused a little roadblock going through Eau Rouge, but fortunately that did not happen. Take a look back here. Replay as Felix Feliz just got onto the throttle a little bit hard, a little too early, and looped it around.
Yeah, unfortunate for him, but all in all, that rejoin could have been a whole lot worse, Rich. So nice to see all of our drivers were able to avoid him, but that battle that we saw coming through there as he was getting straightened back out was led by Dale Peterson. He's got Javi Sierra in behind him. Sierra, nice run so far for him, up 9 spots, but Peterson plus 12 and Keane just behind Sierra plus 12 as well. So a couple drivers here making some big moves early on.
Yeah, it's all, you know, all the drivers are very comfortable as well. Whoa, so we've got going too wide and wow, Jared Keane looking to stick a nose in here. Jared Keane getting very impatient, really wanting to make some more advances. He's up 12 positions as well. Yeah, look at this. We got 7-8 cars here, Rob, battling within inches of each other, and this is exciting racing, what we want to see.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It almost looked like Keane was kind of caught by surprise a little bit, that Sierra might have slowed up a little bit and had to bail out. Not necessarily a overtake maneuver there, but thankfully nobody got collected up in that, because with those cars running that close together, Rich, we could have had a massive pileup. Look at something that we'd be familiar with, the 401 freeway here in Toronto.
Oh, don't even talk to me about traffic like that, Rob. We don't want to see that. That's just not fun as these guys come through the final chicane, and a couple cars making their pits, and oh, somebody's spinning around in the back
Sierra.
there. Look.
Javi Sierra.
No.
Fortunate for Javi Sierra, he's going to go around. It's going to cost him a bunch of time just getting swung back around. So unfortunate for him, he had a strong race going. I mentioned he was up, I believe it was 9 spots at that time. So he's going to basically lose all those positions. We'll see if he's able to recoup that.
Yeah, that was rather unfortunate. Jim Feliz now up to 9th place now that we've got people coming through the pits. Jim following along behind David Bush III, just 3/10 back. They've got themselves a nice little battle going on with Herbert Pineda up ahead of them.
Herbert Pineda leading this 3-car pack. Pineda in 7th place. Nice run by him right now. Up 7 spots too as well. So Pineda, a driver who we saw towards the end of last season, really come on strong. Rich had to overcome a penalty early on that he took on the chin, but fought back from it. So nice to see him out here strong this season. Nice showing by him for the Pro-Am driver, currently sitting 2nd in his class, which equates to a nice 7th overall standing right now.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, Herbert, very gracious gentleman. We had him in the interview booth last season. Nice to chat with him. Nice to see him doing so well right now. But we're going to go back up to one of the Going brothers, the only one here tonight. He's in 14th place right now, up 10 positions. Josh still having himself a great battle here with Jason Park, trying to catch up to Jason Park. These two, Jason Park going wide, and it looks like a couple more cars going wide, but it's a fairly wide section. You get a little dirt on the tires. That's not really going to cost you anything. Trying to use all of the track and then some.
Yeah, as I head through Blanchemont, we'll see what kind of run the Going gets in the McLaren. He's tucked up tight on the back of Park's Acura. He's going to try and go up and around the outside. Park's going to come over and cover that off and do exactly what Josh Goen was trying to do there. Similar to what we saw him try and pull on McKenzie, where he went wide, which is going to give you the inside line into turn 19. But unfortunately for him, Jason Park saw that coming, closed off that attempt.
Jason's no rookie. He's seen it before. He knew what to do to cover it off. Colin McKenzie, meanwhile, has got a gaggle of cars in behind him. They're falling a little bit behind the 2 cars ahead of them, but we've got the 4-car pack. 3 cars falling behind Colin McKenzie as we go up through Eau Rouge.
As we pop up top, looks like Matt Stadnik has gotten around Jack Hedgecoats. So we saw him kind of fall back a little bit, lurking in the weeds, finally found a way to get around Hedgecoats. So we'll see if he's able to open up that gap now and potentially try and close down J.R. Williams up ahead. This could also be a potential fuel-saving maneuver as well for Jack, as he's kind of led this duo around since the start. Going to pop back in behind Stadnik, see if he can save a little bit of fuel. But let's take a look here and see how Matt Stadnik made that move out of the final corner. Looked like Hedgecoats had to gather the car up a little bit, couldn't quite get the throttle as quick as he wanted to, and that's going to allow Stadnik to move to the inside into turn 1 and take that position away. Oh, Hedgecoats almost got tagged by Simpson there on the back end, as Kevin Simpson was trying to take advantage too as well.
Yeah, we're only 26 minutes in. They still got to do their pit stop, so Matt Stadnik taking advantage there, but Jack Hedgecoats, no sense fighting right then. You've still got a pit stop. You've still got 20 more minutes of racing, as long as you're within, a 10th or 2, no harm, no foul. Roy Brown, meanwhile, following up along behind. It looks like Colin McKenzie is still battling hard, these 4 cars, with Josh Go and Jason Park up ahead of them. Everybody's spaced out just a little bit, but nothing too far apart. Ian Cabana sitting in 19th place. Ian is in the middle of another gaggle of cars. Rob, we've got Jared Keane ahead of him, Jacob Fickner, Seb Gauthier behind. Nice close battling all up and down the field, more than halfway through this race.
Yeah, nice run so far by Ian Cabana, the Crikey Esports driver. Got himself up a nice showing right now, +7. As we got, it's like all of our top 10 pretty much into the pits here. Rich is Hedgecoats following Stadnik through the pits. It's like Kevin Simpson is going to be the only driver in the, looks like pretty much the top 15. Going to go around for another lap, so potentially he was going to hang him back there from Stadnik and Hedgecoats, trying to save a little bit of fuel. We'll see if that extra lap is going to come out to his advantage. Looks like Jason Park, David Menino too as well, going to go around one more lap.
Yeah, it looks like pit times are quite lengthy here at Spa, because we're using the endurance pits, Rob, so quite a lot of time, so we won't know what's going on until all of our drivers have gone through. Right now we've got about, I'd say about 20 of our cars have come into the pits, and we've still got another 25 or so to go. David Bush III, as we watch him enter his stall for service.
Yeah, virtually all of our top 35 into the pits this time by, albeit by a couple drivers that stayed on track, being Simpson, Park, and Menino. But our leader, J.R. Williams, has completed his service. He's back out on track. He's currently holding himself a nice 3.3 second over Matt Stadnik. So nice quick pit stop there by J.R. Williams. Let's take a look at the time. He had a cone-to-cone time of 1 minute 11 seconds, 0.1. So as you were saying, long pit stop here, Rich, to Stadnik's 1 minute 12.42. Time in the box, 14 flat for Williams to a 14.9 for Stadnik. So hopefully JR's got enough fuel on board, as I believe he mentioned in the interview last week that he was spitting and sputtering across the line. So hopefully he's got enough fuel to get him to the end.
Yeah, that was my hypothesis as we were watching, and he had the quickest time in the stall of anybody, and we were right. So this time he looks like he's a little closer within range, and certainly as long as he's using some of the draft, or used some of the draft on that first half of the race, he should have enough to get to the end, I would think, Rob.
Well, he had no draft, Rich, because he was out front. So
oh yes, well, yeah, you know what? The brain is really not working. The computers are acting up, and the computer inside this man's skull is acting up a little bit tonight too, Rob.
It's a little optimistic calling it a computer in there, Rich. But anyways, Kevin Simpson in for his service. As mentioned, one of the few drivers that went that extra lap. So we'll have to see how that works out for him. As J.R. Williams back on track, but as we mentioned, a long, lengthy pit stop here. And so plenty of time for Simpson to get that fuel done, as J.R. Williams heading into the final chicane here now. He's going to come around to complete lap 14 for him. So Kevin Simpson still in his stall right now. He's been there for about 45 seconds or so. Interesting to see where that works out, but I think J.R. Williams is going to get comfortably back up top. The real question is going to be whether Stadnik and Hedgecoats can get back out ahead of Simpson.
Yeah, and it's really looking interesting here because Stanek and Hedgecoats were 2 seconds behind as they entered the pits. Now they're 4 seconds and 5 seconds behind. So J.R. Williams extending that lead at this stage and going back up to take over the overall first place.
Yeah, there's Simpson coming out of the pits. He's going to get ahead of Stanek and Hedgecoat, so that extra lap worked out perfectly as Kevin Simpson planned. It'll move himself from 4th place up into 2nd, Rich. So now it's going to get interesting. We'll see here if Stanek and Hedgecoat can chase down Simpson, and also we'll see if Simpson can chase down Williams. As Williams had about 4 seconds over Stanek and Hedgecoat, as you mentioned, but he's only got 1.9 seconds over Kevin Simpson.
Yeah, Kevin Simpson doing a great job, having a very quick pit stop time. We're having problems with that word tonight. Don't know why, but it is what it is. And Kevin Simpson having a fantastic pit entry, pit exit as well, knocking off over a second off the leaders. And as we watch him come around, we're going to pick it up back with Dave Menino. Dave on a recovery mission after that little bit spin earlier. Dave.
And Menino going to get around Josh going there, because I think we might have just lost Richard Swindells again. But Gowan, strong showing for him right now, still +9 on the day. But the pro car of Dave Menino, as I mentioned, on the recovery, now down only 3 spots where he qualified. Josh Gowan going to tuck in behind the M driver here, trying to pick up some pace from the pro driver of Menino up ahead. Monaro and McKenzie just in behind Gowan too as well. So we got a strong battle here for 14th place. We'll see if they're able to chase down Patrick Farrell and Jason Park. Jason Park was the driver that we saw just ahead of McKenzie before the pit cycles there, where McKenzie was actually pushing him down the front straight. But that extra lap that Park put in, looks like he was able to come out to his advantage. He's now opened up a couple seconds over Colin McKenzie, who's currently in 17th place. Park up into 12th. Let's check back in on the lead battle here. J.R. Williams holding strong up top. Picked up a couple tenths over Kevin Simpson that time by. So looks like Williams still has the pace. It's just a matter of whether he has the fuel at this point in time. So we'll have to see how that plays out as we're getting to the end of this race. Just over 10 minutes to go in this one. Time running down for our drivers to make a move. That's Stanek holding off Jack Hedgecoats. Stanek was able to get around Hedgecoats before the pit cycle. Looks like Hedgecoats falling back a little bit from Stanek here. Hopefully he's got enough fuel to get him to the end too as well, potentially trying to save, but we got to battle a little farther back. Jim Feliz working his way up through the field. David Bush III down 2 spots after that pit cycle. Feliz looking to the inside as they head up the end of Kemmel Straight into Lacombe. He's going to make that move, stick and stay for Jim Feliz. It's going to put him +6 on the day. That's going to put David Bush III -3. Herbert Pineda in behind Bush now. Herbert Pineda with a strong race. Got himself up into 9th spot, just inside the top 10. We had a battle here a little farther back between David Morse, as he's going to get himself around Seb Gauthier. Nice run by David. He was up a little higher, but dropped back a little bit after the pit cycles. I'm not sure if something happened to him or not, but something has definitely happened to Dale Peterson. Let's take a look at Dale Peterson. I believe that's Ian Cabana to his outside. A little bit of contact there. Oh, Peterson just loops around the back end there. That was interesting. Something you would have seen on cold tires. I'm not sure if he took tires during his pit stop or not. But that almost looked like a cold tire moment where you're getting back into the throttle and just lost the back end. It's unfortunate for David Morris that a strong race going early on. That's going to drop him back a number of spots. Neil Alexander just ahead of Brent Pankari. Pankari, nice run for him so far. Up 6 spots where he qualified in the Hyam Daisy powered by Project 91 machine. Neil Alexander in the Parabola Midnight car just ahead. And Kevin Bergquist, Brent Pankari trying to close back in on them, but Kevin Bergquist just in behind the Crikey Esports driver. Last season, 2nd place in the AM Championship. So Kevin trying to work off that success last season. Caleb Lehman still holding on to the 5th place position, but Chinsky starting to put some pressure on him. Josh Chinsky, our top placed Pro-Am driver right now. Nice run by him, holding on to his qualifying position. One of the few drivers still running in their qualifying position. They're getting a strong run up the Kemmel Straight here on Lehman up ahead. Doesn't look like he's going to get enough of a run to potentially make a move around Lehman into Lacombe, but Lehman holding strong. That Merc has a whole lot of top-end speed, and we saw it there by Lehman able to maintain that gap ahead of Chinsky enough that he couldn't make a move into the final corner, but something's happened to Kevin Bergquist. Crikey Esports driver heading into turn 18. This might be similar to what we just saw happen to David Morse. Or sorry, Dale Peterson, that was early on to the throttle, and he's going to lose the back end too. Well, I believe that was, it looked like another cold tire moment. I wonder if these guys took some tires during their fuel stop. 45-minute race, they should have been okay with just taking fuel, but that suggests to me that the new tire model and getting back into the throttle, losing the back end is exactly what might have happened there. Our leader, J.R. Williams, holding strong, 2 seconds over Kevin Simpson. See Simpson lurking in the background. Stadnik and Hedgecock starting to close in on Simpson. We'll see if they can catch him and put a little pressure on him right now. That gap down to 7/10. So we'll take a look back here from Kevin Simpson. You can see that gap back to Matt Stadnik and Jack Hedgecock. Stadnik getting deep on the brakes into turn 18 and 19. Utilizing the real skills of that Porsche. It likes the twisty stuff, and that's where it excels into turn 18 and 19. But the BMWs have a little more top speed than that Porsche, but fortunately for Stadnik, he's going to be sandwiched between them. Should be able to utilize the draft off Simpson up ahead to stay ahead of Hedgecock, but time running out. As we're now down to about 7.5 minutes to go in this race. 45 minutes has come and gone very quickly. Take a look back here at Dave Menino. He's got Josh going in tow. They've now caught up to Patrick Farrell. Farrell with Jason Park just up ahead of him. 4-car battle here for 12th place, just outside the top 10. Strong run by a couple of these drivers. Jason Park +9 on the day. Patrick Farrell +6. So a couple of our Pro-Am drivers putting in a nice run. See what kind of run Dave Menino gets in his McLaren, trying to chase down the Corvette of Farrell up ahead. McLaren generally one of the quicker cars in a straight line in the GT3 category, so it'll be interesting to see how long the Corvette of Farrell will be able to hold off Manoa. We have Colin McKenzie and Andrew Venero battling it out for 16th place. McKenzie trying to find a way up the inside of Venero. Venero doing the best he can to make that car as wide as he possibly can. Try and keep that Acura of McKenzie behind. McKenzie going to drop a couple tires into the kitty litter. Kick a little debris up on track into Josh Spears and Pete Mejia's way in behind. No doubt they're probably not big fans of that, but Pete Mejia, last week's AM winner, strong showing right now, 3rd place in AM right now, puts him 19th overall. He's got the pro driver of Josh Spears up ahead, and this is Corvette versus McLaren battle. So we might have Richard Swindells back in the booth. Richard, are you with us?
I'm kind of with you, Rob. I'm on my phone actually now. The internet is down at the studio at my house, so unfortunately I'm a little bit hindered here tonight.
Studio 64 is down for Richard Swindells, but it's going to be suboptimal conditions for Richard Swindells, but the sandwich talk has got Nick going hungry in chat. Speaking of hungry, Jack Hedgecock has gotten around Matt Stadnik, so that BMW is hungry for the 3rd place position. He's taking it back. So see now Stadnik can try and capitalize as well. He's tucked in up the back of Jack Hedgecock as they head up the Kemmel Straight. See if he can make a move into Lacombe, sticking the nose out. Not sure if he's going to have enough overlap, just trying to fake a move into Hedgecock's, trying to force a mistake. Hedgecock fights off that attempt by Stadnik. He's going to hold on to that position, but while they dice around. That's allowing Kevin Simpson to pull away as he's actually closing in on JR Williams up ahead too as well. He's got that gap now under 2 seconds, 1.5 seconds now between Simpson and JR Williams. 4 minutes, 15 seconds to go in this one. That's going to be about 2 laps, potentially 3 when Williams crosses the line. So this is the go time here now. If Kevin Simpson's got anything left in the tank, this is when he needs to empty it. It's also a question whether JR Williams has enough fuel on board, as he's one of our quickest drivers in and out of the pit stall. So we'll have to see if Williams has enough to get him to the end. As we mentioned, he was touch and go on fuel last week. Could be touch and go again here this week, but he's led this one pole to pole at this point in time. You'd hate to see him lose it on account of fuel mileage at the end. Dave Benino still on his recovery run, trying to make a move around Jason Park. Park going defensive on the inside. He's going to force Benino to go the long way around from what's that position. Oh, they come back to the left. A little bit of contact there. Both of them are going to keep going. Benino backs out of it a little bit. It's going to compromise his exits pace. Patrick Farrell going to close in. Josh going in tow there too as well. 4-car battle for 12th place. Jason Park doing the best. Oh, as I mentioned, that Farrell and going out wide. Josh going trying to look up the inside as they head into Blanchimont. Fortunately for Farrell, he's going to have the inside line if he can stay side by side. Oh, they almost touch in through Blanchimont. That could have been all kinds of terrible thoughts. But Andrew Venaro, Colin McKenzie getting into this battle now as they continue to. Oh, Farrell deep into the brake zone. Almost gets into the right rear of Josh Goen. Goen had a ton of purple Corvette coming up to his tailpipes there. Hedgecock's able to hold off Stadnik as it stands right now. They've lost a ton of time to Kevin Simpson though. Simpson now 1.9 seconds up ahead. 1.3 seconds now between JR Williams and Kevin Simpson. Let's go on board here with Simpson. You can see the murk of JR Williams looming off in the distance. Let's take a look at the last lap times. 217.3 for JR Williams, 216.9, actually identical lap times last time by for Simpson and Hedgecock's 216.99. So both those drivers pushing the 2 BMWs in the top 3. Looks like they might have a little more pace as the race wears down here to the last few moments. Hedgecock's looking comfortable now ahead of Stadnik. Stadnik in that Porsche looks like he's used up pretty much everything he had. Porsche does tend to get a little understeery as the fuel load burns off. Fuel tank on the front end of that car. And it looks like it's not quite as pointy as Stadnik once had as Hedgecock's opening up that gap. But JR Williams holding strong up top. This could potentially be the start of the final lap. Let's see if Barney's broken out the white flag as they're heading through Blanchimont into the chicane for potentially the second to last time. Into turn 18, hard left, turn 19, down the front line. There it is. Barney's got the white flag out last time around for these drivers. JR Williams needs enough fuel to get himself around one more time here, 7 kilometers around Spa. Hopefully he's got enough fuel to do it. We'll know here in about 2 minutes, 15, 16 seconds. Let's check back into this battle between David Bush III, Jim Feliz as they're heading across the line. Feliz got around Bush. Last time we checked in them, Bush is closed back in on Feliz. He'd like to get that position back. Herbert Pineda, who was up into this battle, has fallen back a little bit in ninth place. As they head up Eau Rouge, down the Camel Straight. See what kind of run Bush III gets here. On board here with David Bush III, you got that big old DDU screen hanging down from the headliner. Not enough for a run for Bush to try and look up the inside of Feliz. That's your optimal overtaking maneuver unless you can get a run through Blanchimont. So have to see if Bush III can work back that spot. But as I wrote Stadnik off last time we checked in them, he's closed that gap now down to 4/10. See if he can get a run through Blanchimont as they're heading through now. Potentially make a move on Hedgecock's into turn 18 and 19. But the story of the day, J.R. Williams. A few more corners to go here for him. He's let it pole to pole. Question is, does he have enough fuel? Spittering and sputtering this week isn't going to work out for him. Kevin Simpson, Jack Hedgecock, Matt Stadnick too close for comfort here for Williams if he doesn't have enough fuel. Simpson dropped a couple tires into the kitty litter. Managed to collect the car up though, didn't lose it. J.R. Williams. 2 more corners to go here for JR. Into turn 18. Let's go on board here if it's sputtering. It's not. He's got the fuel. J.R. Williams going to take week 3 at Spa. Nicely done for him. Kevin Simpson going to bring it home second. Jack Hedgecock's going to hold off the charge from Matt Stadnick. Jim Feliz says he's going to keep David Bush the third in behind him. Josh Goen got himself around Andrew Venaro. Oh, Ross Sortino out of fuel. That Ferrari coasting on the back. McKenzie going to get around him. Spears going to get around him. Josh Goen going to come across the line to finish up 13th. Sortino desperately trying to nurse that car across the line. I think he might just make it. There it is. He's going to drop all the way to 20th. Brent Pancari, Neil Alexander battling into the final corner. They got Tony Costello there too as well. It's like Neil Alexander going to hold on to that position. Ian Cabana out of fuel too as well. He's losing a ton of spots. Oh no, the Ferraris. 2 Ferraris coasting across the line with next to no fuel. Battle to the line here. Mark Feil, Christopher Rines. They're both going to get ahead of Ian Cabana too as well. Kevin Bergquist. Probably not the race Kevin Bergquist envisioned. He's going to bring it home in 38th. 39th, Guillermo Perret. A couple more drivers still on the lead lap. James Hand, Teddy Peterson, and Drew DeWeese waiting to cross the line. Looks like that Porsche of Peterson looks like it's nursing its way to the line too as well. It could be a fuel issue with him too as well. Oh, he's out of fuel. You hear that car spitting and sputtering. Number of drivers really pushing the fuel here this evening. Drew DeWeese gonna take away that spot. It's like a gift under the Christmas tree Christmas morning for Drew DeWeese. And I believe that's going to do it. That is it for our drivers this evening. What a race. Hats off to all. I'm looking at about 42, I believe, of our drivers that finished on the lead lap out of the 50 cars that started. Well done by all of those drivers. Let's take a look at the results. J.R. Williams brings it home. Top spot on the podium. Kevin Simpson unable to chase him down. He's going to have to settle for second. Jack Hedgecock rounds out the podium. Matt Stadnick coming home in fourth. Caleb Lieben in fifth. Joshua Chinsky takes it for the Pro-Am division. David Bush the third in second. Herbert Pineda in third in Pro-Am. Our top Am goes to Josh Goen in 13th overall. Pete Mejia second in Am. And Roy Brown, our third place driver in Am. We'll quickly skip through the rest of the final results here and see where your favorite driver finished. As I mentioned, 41 drivers here finished on the lead lap. 2 drivers, Teddy Peterson, Nate Adair, 1 lap down. And then we lost a couple drivers just through attrition. So again, hats off to all of our drivers here. So we'll take a look and see who we have in the interview booth. We got a number of drivers queued up and waiting to go. So we'll get them in here shortly. Not sure if we have Richard Swindell's back yet or not, but we will carry on without him one way or the other here this evening. But let's bring our winner in here, J.R. Williams. He was able to fuel save, get it to the line this week. No spitting and sputtering. JR pole to pole win. Congrats How'd you see that from your seat?
Honestly, it was just managing the gap. I got once I had the little gap at the start, I was just trying my best to just keep them out of the tow. As long as I could keep them out of the tow, I think I had enough pace. But once you get in the tow here, you're just dragging everybody everywhere.
Now, I gotta admit, I was a little worried during your pit cycle. You were, from what we had saw the early times, almost a second quicker in and out of a pit lane than a couple other drivers. So I was a little worried maybe you're underfueled again this week, but you proved me wrong, able to take the win. We head to VIR next week. I don't know how the Merc really fares there. I haven't driven it. How comfortable are you feeling taking the Mercedes to VIR, the twisties?
To be honest with you, I don't think I've driven the Merc there either. So I guess we'll find out. Yeah, I mean it's a good track. The Merc's been surprisingly good since the tire change. And I'm hopeful.
Well, hats off to you, JR. Nice job, pole to pole win. There's nothing to shake a stick at that. Anybody you want to shout out here before we let you go?
I think I want to give a shout out to you. Are you soloing tonight?
I am right now. I lost Richard about 10 minutes ago into this one.
Oh,
He lost power at his at his end, so we're soloing the end of it. But you know,
well,
sometimes you
good
just
job
got
to you.
to sometimes you just got to take the driver's seat and carry on.
Yeah, well, good job, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for all you do.
No problem, JR. Best of luck next week to you at VR.
Thank you.
Have a good one. That was our winner, J.R. Williams. Let's bring in our second place driver, Kevin Simpson. Kevin, a little bit of strategy there, able to go that one extra lap. You're able to leapfrog Hedgecoats and Stadnik. You're not quite able to chase in J.R. Williams, but was that your plan from the start early on?
Yeah, so I figured if I couldn't make up some time pretty quick, Jack's a really good defender, and I kind of wanted to stay in the draft with those guys to see if we couldn't save fuel together and then push. But got a little bit like we had some arguments as to who was going to lead the pack there, and that was not very efficient. So I don't know. I mean, they're just good defenders, and I think I would have wasted time and tire trying to get around them. So I thought we'd stay in line and see if we could push and get a hold of JR. But yeah, that was the strategy about lap 3 on.
Well, it's the extra lap of fuel definitely worked out to your advantage. Now, last season you called Coda being a strong track for you, and then you went out and won. How are you feeling about the VIR where we head next week?
I'm average at VIR. I'm just not very. I'm not all that great at it. I'm average. So I had some time to work on Spa. I'm not so much in the Beamer, but like on the track. So I was prepared for that. I don't know. What else is upcoming on the schedule besides VIR? Let's talk about that instead.
To be honest with you, I haven't looked any further than that. I just look at 1 week at a time, Kevin. But before we let you go, anybody you want to shout out here?
Yeah, shout out to Solpec Precision Racing, Abruzzi, and all the guys. Andy Fox, one of our engineers, works really hard on making setups, and he's instrumental in making our team a lot better. So shout out to Andy.
Well done. Well, best of luck to you next week, Kevin. We hope to see you back near the front again at VIR.
All right, Rob, thanks.
Take care. That was our second place driver, Kevin Simpson. Let's bring in our third place driver and also third place in the pro side, Jack Hedgecoats. Jack, Kevin was able to jump ahead of yourself and Matt through the pit cycle. Is that something you had in the back of your mind that you might be able to do? You're kind of hanging back there, saving a little bit of fuel?
Yeah, ideally, my plan was to try and bring in JR and get in that draft and save fuel myself. I tried to get the second for it wasn't the SRT 1-2 because I figured if them two got in the front, there wouldn't be much progress during the race. But I kind of screwed myself becoming the punch in the air for the guys behind me the whole time. So I kind of knew I was screwed in that sense, but I mean, it happens. So just glad I at least got a third place out of it at the end.
I got to make mention, we had Nick going. I guess he was unable to make the race this week, but he was in chat cheering on yourself and Josh all throughout the race. And it was actually easy to see if something happened between yourself and Matt, because he made sure to make a point of it in the chat, so I could pick it up through there. But next week we head to VIR. Are you feeling comfortable heading there, or is it a track that I know a lot of drivers either love it or hate it?
I do enjoy the track. I mean, I'm not going to have as much practice I did this past weekend doing the 42 hours of Spa myself, but we won't have 300 plus laps this time practice, but I do enjoy it, so I think it'll be a good track. I don't know for battling wise, but especially for trying to keep that 0x, it's going to be crucial not to make any mistakes, that's for sure.
Yeah, no runoff at VIR. But before we let you go, Jack, anybody you want to shout out?
Yeah, just shout out Josh. Congrats on the win for him. He didn't even realize he won at first, so I guess he passed him on the final lap, so he was pretty ecstatic. And thanks to Nick for cheering us on. Shame he didn't make it tonight, but hopefully he'll be there next week to compete for the Pro-Am Championship.
Perfect. Well, best of luck next week to you, Jack. We hope to see you back near the sharp end of the field.
Appreciate it. Have a good night, Rob.
Take care. That was our third place finisher in Pro, Jack Hedgecoaks. Let's bring in, I believe we have Joshua Chinsky, our top Pro-Am driver. Joshua, nice run there up into, almost got yourself into the top 5. You were putting some pressure on Caleb Lehman at the end. Did you think if the race was a couple more laps, you might have had something to offer for him?
No, I don't think so. I think one of the biggest things for me that race was I knew that the Corvette is just really down on top speed for sector 1 and 3 in the fixed set. So after probably like 6 laps, I just let him by. I was like, hey, I want to fuel save a little bit. You can go ahead, and I'm just going to keep up with you. I tried to make an attempt on that last lap and then just made a mistake. But no, I don't think I could have. I might have been able to get within like 0.2, but I don't think I could have realistically made a move without risking it for all of us.
Yeah, the Mercs looked really strong on the straight, and it seems like the Corvette the last couple seasons have been lacking a little bit in straight line speed, where you gotta kind of capitalize in the twisty section. But speaking of twisties, next week we head to VIR, where it's got a ton of twisties to start the lap, especially through the snake there. How you feeling heading into that track?
I'm really excited. I love VIR. It's been a while since I've raced it in a single class series, single make series. I've done a lot of multi-class there. I think the last time I raced it in a GT car was 2 years ago doing a VRS endurance race. But I love the track itself, and like you said, a lot of twisties. It should be greatly suited for the Corvette. So I'm excited to get to work on that this week and see where we end up next week. So it should be from this point on, honestly, I think it's going to be a good mixture and kind of a little bit better suited towards the Corvette, of not necessarily really long straights, but a little bit more chicanes everywhere.
Excellent stuff. Before we let you go, Josh, anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Absolutely. Shout out to SRT. You guys are always pushing me to be as fast as I possibly can. Shout out to my mom and dad for watching. Appreciate all the support that you guys give me throughout this hobby of mine. Shout out to my sponsors who make it possible for me to run this car and run these various leagues I'm in. Penn Station East Coast Subs, and then Lifestyle Integrations. Everything that you guys do is amazing. And then for you guys as well, Throttle Freaks, and then Pit Road Productions. You guys are awesome. Can't wait to watch this one back again. Really hoping we caught that lap 1 pass up a Rouge. And then looking forward to seeing you guys next week.
Good stuff, Joshua. And thanks, Mom and Dad, for watching. We'll catch you next week. Hopefully, again, you're at the sharp end of the field. Take care.
Awesome. Thanks, Rob.
Have a good one. That was Joshua Chinsky, our winner in Pro-Am. Let's quickly bring in our second place Pro-Am driver, David Bush III. D. Bush dashed 3 on the day for an overall result, but he still brought home second place in Pro-Am. How was your race from your end?
Pretty good overall. I mean, I knew the Lambo was going to get pretty roughed up towards the start of the race, but I was hoping just to hold on until the tires came in and hold on to what I could.
Yeah, the Lambo definitely seems to be down a little bit on straight line speed, kind of similar to the Corvette. And I'm trying to think of one of the other Porsches a little bit down on speed. But the Lambo's still strong in the twisties, and we head to some twisty tracks next at VIR. I've asked pretty much everybody in here whether they're a big fan of VIR or not. It seems to be one of those tracks where either you really like it or you really hate it. There doesn't seem to be any real in between. Which side of the fence are you on heading into next week?
I'll sit right on the fence. I'll be right in between.
Perfect.
I'll be
That's
the
kind of
one
where the Lambo excels, isn't it? Though in between the muddy in
Yep.
between is where the Lambo loves it.
Supreme. We'll see how it goes.
Excellent stuff. But before we let you go, D Bush, anybody you want to shout out here?
Big shout out to Tyler and Colin running Lunatic. Amazing paints as always. Good running this weekend. We ended up 15th in the third split on the first time slot for 24 hours. So give
Excellent.
kudos to that.
Excellent stuff. Hopefully that wasn't one of the splits where they lost the data from. I saw that post that iRacing made. So hopefully you keep that data, but well done, D Bush. We hope to see you definitely up near the sharp end of the field carrying on the rest of the season.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate all you do.
Take care. That was David Bush III, second place in Pro-Am, and we quickly will pull Herbert Pineda into the booth here. Herbert, nice run by you, up 5 spots on the day from where you qualified. Looks like you got around David Bush III at one point in time, and then I believe it was after the pit cycles. You fell back just behind them. We're unable to get back ahead of them. But we head to VIR next week. How are you feeling going into week 4? Herbert, do you got us? Okay, looks like we don't have a mic from Herbert. Let's go to our AM winner, Josh Goen. Josh, your cheering squad was in the chat the whole race. Your brother Nick cheering you on from start to finish. You made it up 11 spots from where you started. Top AM driver, just outside the top 10, but comfortably in the top 15. Nice race. How do you feel about that one?
Yeah, I felt like it went well. Qualified squarely in the middle of the pack, but around a couple of other AM drivers. So just try to survive, try to keep it together, keep it on track for the first half. By the time we got through that, I'd made up a couple positions and saw that Ross, who was the AM leader at the time for most of the race, was way up track, and so I kind of just resigned myself to second. Finished out my race, across the finish line, thinking that I had finished second. Went to go see how far in front of me Ross had finished and realized that I had won. So won an AM. So pretty exciting to realize all that after the fact. Seemed like Ross had just a little too not enough fuel. So yeah, it was a good race.
Yeah, we picked him up coming between Blanchemont and turn 18, I believe it was. He was coasting. He managed to nurse it across the line, but yeah, like you said, he dropped a number of spots. But did you participate at all in the 24-hour race this weekend on iRacing? And if so, do you feel like that really worked out to your advantage here tonight?
I actually didn't get to do the race. I was doing another endurance event. I did a 200-mile bike ride from Seattle to Portland. So I thought I was going to be kind of behind the 8 ball tonight. I got a little bit of practice in last night and today, and just thrilled with how it all worked out. So
sometimes being fresh is the best practice you can have. So next week we head to VIR. It's a track that I've mentioned to everybody here that you either seem to love it or hate it. There doesn't seem to be any real in between. How are you feeling confidence-wise heading into next week?
I don't have a ton of track time at VRIR. I'll have to learn it, and so not really sure how that's going to all shake out. But I'm excited for continuing to race with this crew. Feels like every week just good on track battles. Everyone's keeping it clean, and so yeah, we'll be back next week.
Excellent stuff. Before we let you go, Josh, anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Got to shout out the Go and Racing crew. Thanks, guys, for tuning in, and then all the friends and family watching and cheering on from the sidelines. We really appreciate you guys.
Excellent stuff. Best of luck next week at VIR, Josh, and hopefully we'll talk to you then.
All right. Thank you so much.
Take care. So that's going to wrap up the interviews here at Spa for week number 3. We've, unfortunately, as I mentioned, we lost our compatriot, Richard Swindells. The old man's punching air somewhere in southern Ontario right now at his electrical grid. But we brought you the end. Next week, as I mentioned, we head to VIR, a track the drivers either seem to love or hate. I love it. Even if I've had some terrible races there, it's a track I love. It seems to be one that really fits my driving style. So it'll be interesting to see what drivers find their way to the top end of the field next week. But we'll be here for it. Again, 8:45 Eastern Time next week for Pit Road Productions. I'm Rob Campbell, and for my second in charge here, Richard Swindellis, who's found his way into the chat. We'll see you next week. Bye for now.